and save me an atrocious amount of time behind the chair, and that's the way I can help you grow. Do I have your permission to do that? Right. So right now we're seeing a lot of soft, flickery, whispery, frothy movement in hair, right? You can have all those words. Take them home. Yeah, some clients have zero clue what you're talking about, but you use all those words and they're like, yes. And that just gives me permission to do what I want to do, right? Okay, so. Let's get this cape on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out by cutting the fringe. I do a lot backwards, as you're probably starting to pick up. I don't ask negative questions, I ask positive questions. I don't start at the bottom, I start at the top. So, well, I feel like, we were all trained a certain way, but we were trained that way because if we tried to be trained in dry hair from the beginning, I think we'd all agree we would have quit like first week, right? But I don't think, you have my permission from here on out to do things dry if you have the right tools to provide. I'm a precision cutter all day long. My background is in building before I did hair. So geometry is everything that I know and precision is all that I know. But what I find is through today's tool technology, I can deliver that same precision in dry hair that I used to have to do in wet hair. So again, it's saving me some time, right? What are we seeing in fringe right now? Curtain bangs, big time. So that's what we're going to cut today. What happens when we try to shift sections in dry hair and then cut them clean with a scissor when we let go? Yeah, oof. I think I heard somebody go, oof. Yeah, it looks like you tapped it with a chainsaw, right? It's like turn the client, hand them wine, Xanax, like whatever it's going to take to get them to calm down and assure them that everything's going to be okay, right? And then we pull out a texturizing shear, right? Have you guys ever thought about just cutting it with a texturizing shear? Yeah, it works so much better. So we're going to take a little bit different sectioning in this. I'm a big fan of the triangle. I think it's important that you hear that, but I'm not a big fan of the triangle in this particular type of fringe. And the reason why, especially when it comes to longer fringe, I feel like it forces the fringe out in front of the haircut. It creates separation from the fringe and the haircut, and then it causes the client to have to use heat tools usually to marry that fringe into the haircut. Would you agree with that on a curtain fringe? Seven gave me some really cool new clips, but I'm not used to them yet, so don't mind my slowness. Every good comedian has water on the stage, I was told backstage. I think probably one of the best things I've learned over the last 15 years is how to laugh at myself. Would you guys agree? And acceptance, man, that word. Whew. That word is the key to my heart today. Accept what's happening because it's real, right? Make the best of it. Do things that we can do and leave the rest alone. Shrink your world when you have to. Would you agree? There's a lot of noise going on today. I think that's what I love about the salon life. Plus, I've got ADD like nobody's business, right? I get a new job every half hour to 3 hours. Sign me up. Yeah, and there is endless benefits to that. I don't love every client that I have, but I never have to clock back in and see them the next day. That's a good feeling. See you in 6 weeks. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to use a loose tooth comb. I firmly believe in no tension when dry cutting, okay? We want to be able to control and move it. We don't want to pull it. We pull it, it creates bounce back, and then it'll really, really misshape things really fast. I'm going to lead this dance, boys, so stick with me. I'm going to move around. I'm going to drop that in, and I'm going to walk this around the face shape. Come on in here, big guy. Come get you some of this. We're going to roll that around, right? I'm going to just keep my finger position parallel with the side of the head. I'm going to go across, and I'm going to just close at the fingers and slide. I don't know what kind of tools you all own, but I can tell you that when I watched the first artist I ever watched with Hanzo move through someone's hair with the texturizer, I about had a heart attack. He had a vertical section. It was elevated at 180, and he went like this and slid, and I like about had a heart attack. My client would have came with me, right? So like immediately, I'm like, sign me up for one of those, because I didn't even use a texturizer. I didn't believe in pulling and plucking people's hair, you know? So let's see what this looks like. See how beautiful and soft you get right away? And so we're going to do the same thing with the other side. We're just going to grab that center. We're going to drop that in. And again, do a little do-si-do. Over to this side, we're going to reach in, grab that top, and flip the hand over. And again, just getting down to the base of those fingers and sliding through. And I tell you, stand in this position because it protects your fingers. Guys, you can do it this way, but when you close one of these on your hand once, you'll probably try it my way. Because I didn't find out my way the easy way. And so you can see again how you get that soft swing and travel. And now we need to control this a little bit more. This is my fault from a flat iron this morning. We'll control that with a little 7 hair care afterwards. So what I want to show you now is a weaving technique. This creates a ton of control, and it also gives you a lot of fluctuation in how the fringe can be worn, which I think this is really, really important. When clients have multiple ways and multiple looks that you create through your haircut, it gives them unlimited potential. You know, take this shape, for instance. I don't know if you noticed, but I took a heart shape there. I took it where the comb left the head, and I ended it right at the recession. Same places as I would the triangle. But you have to see that it's encompassing all the problematic areas. Take someone that has fine hair, a postpartum client. Some of them have baby hair all the way up into that triangle area. If you do that and cut a curtain fringe on them, you might as well grab your trimmers and hard part them afterwards, because that's what it looks like, right? And you can see here clearly that it marries over the side of the hairline when you encompass that problematic area. So this allows it to live in the haircut instead of outside of that haircut. Make sense? So this is what we're going to do now. This is a basket weaving technique. We're going to take a vertical parting just next to the center parting, and we're going to step opposite of that parting. We're going to grab this. We're going to wrap this around. And then we're going to take that same 27-tooth texturizer. This is called our Shimada. I absolutely am infatuated with this. I feel like this is the texturizer everybody picks up 20 years later, and it's like, I still love this thing, right? I'm going to roll it around in my hand so it's backwards. See how the tang's on my thumb now? And then I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to push down first, and I'm going to start to weave through there like I would a highlight. And then I'm going to close that and back comb it. Come back, close, and back comb. And then I'm going to start to move out of that hair with it. I'm going to take the next section, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Grab it, wrap it over, move my fingers to the position. So just parallel with what I've already cut, pushing down first and weaving through, closing and back combing again. It starts to soften it immediately, but has this incredible effect of getting it to mend together and hold together. So you can see with a little bit of product how that would bump up and look like a swept parting, right? And this is on a curtain fringe that we just cut the whole middle out of, and she's literally at an emo part. I really doubt she's going to part that far over ever, but I really want you to see the control and potential, considering the only thing that's in this hair right now is heat defense. Yeah. This is my point. Push your haircuts far. If you can't, take more education. Like, people love seeing you invest in yourselves. And when they see you invest in yourselves, they understand your worth. Does that make sense? I think there's a difference between helping someone to understand how to respect you and looking like a needy person. Does that make sense? There's really, really positive ways to say things to people and get them to understand how invested you are. And you guys have so much power that people never used to have. You have social media. You have things that you can put on your stories, show where you're at, show again that you're constantly investing in yourself. And then when it comes time to raise those prices, there's really no argument there because they constantly see you engaged on your own dime and your own time. Make sense? Good. You guys should all put me on your stories. That way you can blame me when you get back home and maybe change a few things. Be like, that guy that was on my story, he said some things that it made some sense. This is what he said. And just share it with them. How can they argue with truth? Right? And so you can see again from the other side, a little bit of product to get that point to mend, but definitely could be worn now from far left, far right, which means anywhere in between. And so just in a ponytail, right? If this hair was longer, you can imagine all the different looks that a client could create just through this. My favorite thing to do that weaving technique on is a bob with no fringe at all. It's amazing to me afterwards when you run your hands through their hair how the bob's front swings back and locks into their hair instead of collapsing right back in their face. Go home and try it. It's a super, super cool technique. And you can see it really, really creates a lot of softness through the fringe. If any of you are asking yourselves, could I do this on a fine-haired client? I do all the time. Cool. All right, so now we're going to cut the layer. And we're just simply going to take a mohawk right through the center. These clips are so little. Got kind of big hands for a hairdresser. That's why perms will never be my thing. Okay, so I'm going to switch to a longer shear. This is our Paime. I absolutely am infatuated with this scissor. If you've been cutting hair a long time and you own like 17 scissors, come see us at the booth and take a look at this one because it's the Bugatti of scissors. And if you don't believe me, you'll know when I tell you the price of it. I was kind of blown away actually the first time, but then I cut some hair with it and I was infatuated immediately. The power of this tool, and this is what I'm talking about tool technology, right? This tool is designed to cut everything cleanly and never ever push hair at all. It has a straight blade and a bent blade, so you can see this one is completely straight and this one is curved, right? So it actually works like a paper cutter. You can take the thickest head of hair you've ever seen in your life and cut a one-length bob without taking a section with this scissor. So it became very valuable very quick for me. I just took a mohawk through the center. I'm going to grab just a piece of the front of the fringe. We're going to utilize that as our guide. We're going to bring that up, but you can clearly see what I'm talking about here. When I close this down, it's a wrap. See how it's a right angle there? There's no push at all. It actually pulls hair into it, just like when you close a paper cutter down, it walks the paper back and then cuts it off, right? That's the exact idea of this design. So I'm just going to take traveling sections here. See the time saved? And I'm here to tell you, you can do whole ponytails like this. I'm pretty infatuated with this scissor. But I'm a tool junkie, you know. Still an addict. I just like to get addicted to things that help my life, not hinder it anymore. I think, honestly, one of the most important things any human being could ever do is just accept who they are at their core and then learn that they can do good things with those same things, right? Honestly, anybody I've ever met that has recovered, I find to be above average a lot of times, you know? It's kind of a trip. So I'm just going to cross-check, make sure I'm good here. And I'm going to move over to the other side. and do the exact same thing. And all I'm doing is just working this back to the apex. Are you guys enjoying the show? I just think that Monica and the whole team, because it goes way beyond just Monica. It takes a village to raise this child, you know. And I honestly want to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for putting all of this together. I just think they do a great job every year of building this up, making it more amazing for all of you. And I just feel great about companies. I feel great about standing behind companies that stand behind an industry that's changed my life. So again, we're just going to cross-check that. Pretty happy. Starts to move down. We're good there. All right, so, and you can see, I want you guys to all really, really see that it's seamless. Just as if you were to do all of that wet and cut it really, really precise. So you see what I mean? Through tool technology, we can accomplish things in like quarter times, a lot of times. For me, I know that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who I work with or who I work around. They may get my client a water, a coffee, a glass of wine. But at the end of the day, my employees actually consist of these combs, clips, and my hair care, right? Without them, I can't complete a job. And I think it's really, really important, too, to think about that in tool selection at all times. Even product selection, right? Like, you want to make sure that you're giving the client everything that you possibly can, right? And I just think at the end of the day, I don't know. I just can't say enough about tools. I think that most people's problems in haircutting stem from body position and tools, right? So now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start right at the apex. We're going to take vertical partings. We're just going to work this around, pivoting off of that center section. I always tell everyone, break it down like a beach ball. Top of the apex is your beach ball, pie-shaped sections that move around there. It's the easiest way to see it. But we just want to connect that layer to the back, but we want to create a C shape. And I think C shapes are probably one of the hardest shapes for us to create, especially when we have straight blades in our hand. It's the same reason why we like niche that thumb all the time when we're trying to move through hair, because we're trying to slide with something that digs. Does that make sense? So when you pick up a tool that has like a heavy belly on the blade, it's designed to actually push the hair out of it. So it does the polar opposite of the last tool that I just used, right? But because it pushes hair, it creates the perfect C shape. So this tool has created nothing but ease in all of my face framing, all of my round, like perimeter lines and long hair, things that used to be a lot more difficult for me. This tool has literally changed. And you'll see here when we come down, you'll see, get it? C shape? No, nothing? When we bring this up, and we want to start to rotate that off, I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to close, but you're going to see right away, see that? And so it gives that perfect soft shape that's going to give me a really, really pretty fall back here. I want to really illuminate this crown area. First through cutting, then through product, right? So you can see really quickly how easy that makes it. Is this Bruce Springsteen? Did someone say yes? That's even better that you know it. All right, come up in here, and we're just going to continue to make that connection. By the way, this tool that's in my hand has been my complete problem solver when it comes to cutting anything curly. And by the way, I got these from my mother on my first birthday, if you were wondering. You know, and we attract the type of hair that we have a lot of times, so I get a lot of curly-haired clients. This scissor has made everything easy for me. You can't cut a blunt line with it, so you can't cut a harsh curl with it either, right? It's going to cut it and create that softness at the end of everything. If you are big on extensions, this is your baby. This will turn your job into a 10-minute easy job. You don't even have to close. You can literally hold it half open and just move through dry hair like you took a hot knife off the stove and stuck it in butter. It does. It's that scissor.